Vance, Diana Dutry, Jeff Reese, Roger Friedel, Lyle Hongren, Lindsay Nessen, Paul Fulsham, Kurt Fertig. Yes. And our note taker. We're glad to have you with us, Jessica. We appreciate you being here this evening. And this is almost miraculous tonight that we have somebody that has wanted to participate in our opening ceremony. It is great that we have you here. We appreciate you being here. We're going to start with a prayer, and then they're going to have a flag ceremony. And Alden Robertson, you're going to pray for us?
Yes, sir. Dear kind Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you that the Scouts could come and do the flag ceremony, and please bless that we'll be able to have a good day today, and please bless that all the problems will be able to be solved. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Wow, that was great. All the problems.
Color guard attention. Audience, please rise and do the proper hand salute. Color guard forward march. Color guard, post the colors. Repeat the pledge with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At ease.
It has actually been a long time since we've had that, hasn't it?
Yeah, you guys ought to come every time.
Long time. But there's a problem, though. You have to stand and introduce yourselves. If that's all right.
I am Aiden Robertson.
And what troop is this? 140?
Troop 140, yes, sir.
Okay.
Why don't you tell them what your positions are?
Oh, I am patrol leader.
Good. Thank you.
I am Jackson Lindy, and I am the bugler.
I'm Jaden Heyer, and I'm the librarian.
I'm Tyler Curl, and I'm cleanup patrol.
I'm Logan Lee and I'm assistant patrol leader.
I'm Gavin Bailey, and I'm chaplain's aide.
Leaders, you're not left out here.
Yeah, Morgan Robertson, Scoutmaster.
John Call, Assistant Scoutmaster.
We're very appreciative of you being here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for letting us be here.
It is truly a pleasure to have you. Council, we have a rather short agenda tonight. Any questions on the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Pushing Josh's years of service to next week because he's not back from North Carolina yet.
So
His years of service award.
What about it?
We're going to push it back to the next week.
Oh, okay.
November 6th,
Sounds like a deal.
when he should be back.
Okay. So we'll adjust the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda with the exception of item number 5.
Motion made by Lyle.
Second it.
Seconded by Lyle. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes. Any questions on the minutes of October 2nd, 2018?
I move we approve the minutes.
Motion made by Diana.
Second.
Second by Jeffrey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comment. This is the time. Would you guys like to address the Tremont City Council? It's your opportunity. Your opportunity. Jessica, do you have anything full of wisdom to say tonight?
Probably not full of wisdom.
All right.
You can say good or bad. If you like something good about the city, you can say that too.
Let's not overdo it here, Dave.
We want to hear that.
Okay.
They're talking it over.
Oh, they are talking it over?
There you go.
Introduce yourself first.
I'm Aiden Robertson, and I'm the patrol leader. And I move that we have, instead of chocolate milk, strawberry milk in our school systems, because more kids will drink more milk.
Okay, that's awesome. Awesome.
Not
Thank
exactly
you.
sure what we can do about that.
That's good. That is good.
We're gonna send them to the school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They drink strawberry milk better than chocolate?
I have no idea.
That's all right.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah, no,
there we
no,
go.
awesome.
This is good.
I'm Jackson Lichty, and I move that there for the city recreation flag football and baseball teams for older grades.
Oh, good idea.
Good idea. We'll pass that on.
What grade do they go to, Jack?
I know that football, flag football just goes to 7th grade, and I don't really know about baseball though.
Okay. We'll pass it on. Thank you. Anybody else? That's good. That's good. Thank you very much. News Council business, discussion and consideration of adopting Resolution 1847, approving a land use acquisition agreement between Tremont City and Jesse F. Corder and Mary H. Corder for the purpose of acquiring a right-of-way for the continuation of the 950 East Collector Road north of Main Street. Sean?
So there are two agreements tonight for your consideration approval. As the mayor just mentioned, one is with the Quarters, the other's with Canute and Connie Friedall. I've talked to Jesse Quarter. He's read the agreement, and everything looks to be in order. I've been working with Canute, and I believe that everything's in order there as well, although I wasn't able to contact him. The last communication I had with him, we were waiting for the formal appraisal to be done. We had, in the past, agreed upon about $19,000, but we were able to secure corridor preservation funds, the mayor, through the mayor's meeting, and that delivers to us essentially, or to the property owners, the appraised amount. And I did receive the appraisal today for Canute Friedall's, and it came at $21,000, $21,100, which included compensation for the grain bins and the property. And so I just need to finalize that with him. But all the conversations leading up to that have been positive, and more or less just needed to get the final number.
Council, do you have any questions?
I do. So the preservation fund will cover 19,000 or the appraised amount of 21?
It'll cover the appraised amount. If you scroll down to the staff report, there's the breakdown of what I filled out the application for, which at the time I knew what Jesse Quarter's property was going to be, which was $37,000. That was the appraised amount from a previous appraisal. I had budgeted $25,000 for Canute's piece, and it came in at $21,100, and then I put about $10,000. These were just budgeted numbers for professional fees, and it looks like they're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,000 or $9,000
For the professional fees.
So it should be all covered.
All of it, 100% of it's covered by the county then?
Yes, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, the county has been great, and the mayor, worked with the other mayors and the Mayor's Association, the COG. The application was approved, and ultimately the county council or county commission approved it. So, and we got all the partial releases off Jesse Quarter's property. So, so at this point,
So did you have to deal with the bank or Jesse?
The bank. So the bank had to authorize us, or had to authorize the release of a portion of the property that they have a trust deed on, which is called the partial reconveyance. And so we've had that in order. So everything, all the documents now are in Jenny Goring's possession, the title company. And I think it's just a matter of closing once these agreements are approved. If you would, though, I don't know how comfortable you feel. I feel like the terms are certainly finalized with Jesse Corder, with Knut Friedal. I believe everything's in order, you know, everything that we've discussed in the past, in previous conversations, but if by chance there's some minor modifications that come that don't affect, you know, what we don't affect, I'm trying to think of some boundaries that I could put on, or parameters, that don't really generally affect the cost, if you would allow me to make those amendments. That way we can close. Otherwise, it's as you know, it's a 5th Tuesday month, and so it would be November, 3 weeks that we would have to wait before we could close on the properties.
Does that what you're thinking sort of involve some of the bins and stuff like that, or?
No, I do feel like you know, I've talked to Knut. I had 5 or 6 good conversations with him, so I feel like the terms are final. So I can't imagine anything, but
just in case.
Yeah, Jesse Corder, we had contact, and he told me that everything looked good, and he, you know, essentially approved the agreement. And I just haven't had that same affirmation from Knut. But the terms are everything we've talked about, and I think all the concerns that he's ever expressed. So we're paying him what the appraised amount is. So I'm not.
So, but then there's some compensation for his grain bins too, isn't there?
So the appraised amount does include the green bins. In fact, the first appraisal came in at $18,500, and I talked to the appraiser, and we talked a little bit about Knut had a concern about labor, and so we revisited that with the appraiser, and the appraiser came back with an adjusted value today of $21,000, which includes the labor, which hadn't previously been included. So.
And then, as I was reading it, didn't it say he could use the grain bins until they disappear?
Yes.
And then he can haul his weed away, and if he's stuck, I don't think he has any.
You get it all
Now,
staked out too, don't you?
Where we're
Yes,
paying
we do.
him for the labor, then that's up to him.
So, yeah, let me clarify, I didn't do a good job of that. The labor was relative to the original construction of the green bins. There isn't a depreciated amount. I think they depreciated at 35%, is what the appraiser did, both the bins and the labor. But that's what the labor is relative to, not the takedown, just the original construction. Since we're purchasing the property with which the bins are on, we would then own the bins. And we need to figure out how to.
I think there's 2 of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
2 bins that'll be involved in this.
Yes.
I'll make a motion we adopt resolution number 18-47.
Motion made by Jeffrey,
I'll second it.
seconded by Lyle Vance. Any further discussions?
I just have one question.
Go for
So the telephone pole, that'll fall on our responsibility. That's not part of all of this, is it? That'll be something separate.
So this is the acquisition. So yes, when we got
That'll be something separate.
construct, we are working with the developer on a cost-sharing agreement to install the entrance and essentially the first portion of the road. And at this point, my initial conversations with the developer is that it'd be 50-50%. This would be the developer that's looking to annex property into the city.
Okay. We had a motion and a second, didn't we? Yes. A roll call.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Diana, aye.
Jeff, aye.
Lyle H.I.
Thank you. We have that resolution number 1848, which we've already discussed. Any questions on that one?
I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 1848 and approve this
second it.
acquisition.
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, motion made by Lyle H., seconded by Diana. Roll call again.
Lyle Vance, aye.
Diana, aye.
Jeff, aye.
Lyle H.I.
Thank you. Any calendar items that we need to discuss?
Oh, Christmas holidays. From memory here, we have, I believe it's the month of November the 20th. Oh,
Yes.
okay. The 20th, starting somewhere at the 2 o'clock hour up until 5. We'll have an open house, holiday open house. So,
Is that with all the employees?
yes.
Okay. You guys?
So at the very first meeting, or at essentially the 2 o'clock hour, the mayor passes out some holiday cards, and and you know, that's where the most employees are gathered. But it's a pretty good stream. So even employees, past employees, are invited to come as well. So
We usually get a pretty good crew, don't we?
So it's worth coming if you have the opportunity. The beginning is the best, but it's good all the way through.
Come and say hello at least.
What's the date on that again?
November 20th.
Tuesday.
3-5.
Okay. And then we do have our holiday get-together, which is the usual place at 6 at the 13th of December.
Sounds fun.
6.
Yep.
Yes.
We don't have any assignments, do we? Where was Rhodey? He was going to talk to us tonight. He's not here. We're heartbroken.
We're regrouping.
Hey, coincidentally enough, I had meetings, the American Waterworks Association up in Midway last week, and one of the presentations was exactly what Rhodey was teaching us. And it was in, I don't remember which, it was the Central Utah Water Project. Central Utah, what's it called, Paul?
CUP or?
No, Central, I forgot what it was. Anyhow, Central, there's one of those conservancy districts now.
Central Utah is a,
Isn't that a big one?
uh-huh.
Yeah, Central Utah
Goes
Conservancy.
all the way from out the Strawberry Valley area all
Yeah.
the way down into.
Anyhow, he was the presenter, and he actually almost, in real life, was almost word for Rhodey's stuff. And he said, if you want something to succeed, in his opinion, you have to do just, frankly, exactly what Rhodey was. You have to have goals, and you have to have them written down, and you have to figure out a way to make it happen, just exactly as Brett was telling us. And I sent him an email today, and he told me he would send me a copy of his presentation which might be beneficial to us. So it was interesting that it was exactly the same. It wasn't kind of, it was exactly the same. So, city manager reports. Anything, Sean?
No. You don't have anything.
Okay. Land use reports and comments. Any questions on?
I did just put one item, it's on the agenda tomorrow, so it should be making its way to you, and essentially they are, did I put? Essentially it is a recorded lot, and for financing purposes, they want to actually split it into 2 different lots, so they can get the bank, I think, feels more secure if there's 2 lots rather than 1 lot. But there's no density increases. There are 4plexes that were slated to go on, 2 4plex buildings that were slated to go on 1 lot, and now they would be a 4plex building on each lot, each newly created lot.
That's cleaner.
So, is that fair, Paul? Is that? So, yeah, so that'll be coming your way.
City department head comments and reports. Paul,
Yeah, I just got a couple things. Each month I send out a kind of report on water and wastewater information for the month. I don't know if the city council find that useful or.
I do.
Yes.
And if you noticed, our September this year, because what I do is we read the meters, our master meters feeding into town each Friday. So some months will fall into a 5-week month, some week will be a 4-week month. If you notice, this September was a 4-week month, but we used more water in September than any other September in the past history with a 4-week month. And, you know, I mean, we know why that was. It's been hot and we haven't had any water. And I just want to keep that on the forefront that, and you probably are aware that the governor's declared a state of emergency because of the drought. And 6 counties had already done that, Box Elder being one of them. And just kind of keep that on the forefront that those things are happening. And, you know, with this project, I'm sure Councilman Vance is real aware of our secondary project because it's going on in his neighborhood. But as that comes to completion, that'll take about 150 to 200 connections off of our culinary system.
By spring.
By this next spring. So, you know, last year we sold 79 single-family building permits and 2 4-plex building permits. This year so far, as of the 15th of the month here, we've sold 67 single-family, 5 multifamily 4-plexes, and then 4 commercials. And one of those commercials are really using a lot of water on their outdoor watering, which is the Warner Truck Center in Stokes. They've got a lot of grass out there.
But they'll be on the system?
Not in this phase, but in a future phase. So, but I mean, just to keep on, if we can stay on that kind of a growth that as homes come on, we can pull some of the older ones off, then it'll help keep us above that curve, because I do have some fear for next summer because we had such a dry year. Yeah. And usually your springs and stuff are about 8 months to 10 months behind showing stress. And we made it through this summer great. And just to be aware that, you know, if we don't get some moisture, we might have a struggle next summer.
But in my experience, even if we get moisture, we still might have a struggle next summer.
Because it's always that their time, I mean, which is good for, you know, if we had wells, it's different, but with spring water, you want that time lag because that shows that your springs are deep enough and the water influence them isn't shallow and isn't influenced by groundwater. It takes time to get through the ground and into the aquifer, which is what you want to see.
Well, Paul, if we see that the springs are weak this spring, we probably ought to do restrictions right now.
We'd start, yeah. We'd start earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So, but just to keep that up, and if you ever have any questions on that information I send you, you know, be sure and contact me, because what I'm showing you some of the secondary use. I'm showing you what we're producing in our culinary sources. Then I throw in a little bit of the wastewater, so you know what's going out the other end of things.
So, have you? I know you've been measuring the canal for quality, you know, E. coli and that kind of thing, and then measuring our output down there at the plant. How's that sort of gone this year?
Well, what we've seen is each week I've been measuring weekly E. coli counts in all 3 of the canals throughout town. And those range anywhere from around 22 colonies per 100 mil sample. So what you do is you take a 100 mil sample of the water and you put it into a broth that if there's E. coli there, it promotes the growth. So you're kind of feeding it if it's there. And we get anywhere from 22 to 80 something colonies in those samples out of the canals. And if you compare it at what we're putting into the river, usually our treatment plant runs anywhere. I mean, we have a permit of up to 157 colonies per day, an average of 126 per month. But generally, what the E. coli count going into the river from the treatment plant is around 5 to 20. Just depends on how good a treatment we're doing as far as clarity, because we do use ultraviolet light to disinfect
so
the water.
we're proving that our water's cleaner.
Yeah, that's the point.
And
all the time.
As we wrap up, because the next 3 weeks, then the canal will be. I've got all the data there. I've got it on some charts. I'll send it out to council so they can see. And we're gonna try to get a meeting with after the canal's out, with the new canal company manager.
Right.
And bring him up to speed, since they did lose their manager right in the middle of all this. And with the readings we've got and the flow readings and stuff that we've been doing.
Who is the new manager?
I don't.
Just a young kid. He's just out of school, and yeah.
And I don't know him.
Just
I haven't
started.
met him.
Just started.
Just a month ago.
Yeah.
So we just figured to give him time to get his feet on the ground and get the water out of the canal, then get a meeting with him, and so we don't overwhelm him with what we've been doing. And
I think this will really help the board to be a little more comfortable with, if we try to do that swap or whatever, I think.
I mean, if not, like I said, we can always take that water over to one of our zones and repressurize it back into our system.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be easier if we could swap it with canal water in and out. So.
Any more, Ken? Any
One more
questions?
question, what's the game plan on tar? It's getting cold. Are they gonna be able to tar the roads?
They will. They're getting the service connections made, and then they'll come back and asphalt. Asphalt's temperature important, but with small patches, it's about keeping the heat up while you're getting it compacted. They can do it fairly easy there because those are small, real narrow cuts. And so they should be having it done, because right now they're making the service connections over to the property. Then they'll come back and they've already did the pressure test. It's met the pressure test. So.
Lane says they can keep going right into November.
Yeah. Like I said, moisture's more the worry to me than heat, because they can keep that heat up in those trucks and those canals, or in the asphalt, and get it compacted. So you'll be seeing those get patched. They already did their patches up on the Spring Acres and area stuff. So they're just
Looks good.
want to get that all done. So,
Good.
and then they'll start working along the canals. We've been waiting for the canal to go out so we could do some of the main bigger.
Is it gone out yet? Is the water out of the canal?
No, it won't be till the 1st at least.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Do we have anything else to discuss, council? Do we have a need for a closed session? Then we have a need for one more motion.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second it.
Lyle, seconded by Diana, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed to adjourning?
No, not even the scout. That's a short one, guys.
This is a record.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
Not I wouldn't say it's a record, but it's close. We're glad to have you guys with us today.
And you did a fine